Welcome to Jacket Talk Overtime on LEB TV, brought to you by Mid-Missouri Bank, Ginger's Wellness, also by Mercy, and by Jacket Nation. Don't forget the community tailgate at Garner and Smith Insurance this Friday night as the Yellowjackets play host to Neosho. We'll preview that game with Coach Will Christian. Look back to last Friday's game against Joplin right here on LEB TV from Buzzcuts in downtown Lebanon. It's Jacket Talk Overtime. Welcome to Jacket Talk on LEB TV.
My name is Jaysha Connor, owner and nurse practitioner here at Ginger Wellness. I believe that sometimes healthcare does too much, and I believe that's where wellness centers can really bridge that gap and really give people some confidence in natural ways, healthier ways, to really improve quality of life and to get healthy.
We want to feel better and live better lives. It's not about quantity, it's a lot about quality of your life.
Ginger Wellness is where I went to get my quality of life back.
Welcome back to Jacket Talk Overtime from Buzzcuts in downtown Lebanon. Again, thanks to Mel's for providing us lunch today as we look back to last Friday's trip to Joplin for the Yellowjackets as the Eagles came away with a 21-17 victory. Coach C, that was a good high school football game in the COC. Big crowd at Joplin. Eagles rallied late in the fourth quarter. I thought your football team overall had a good showing.
Yeah, I would agree. I was really proud of our kids. I thought we made some improvements. Obviously, there's still a lot on the list to improve. They're playing with a lot of heart and guts and effort. And physicality. Lebanon has a lot of reason to be proud of our kids right now. And I'm very grateful for all the people, Kevin, that came to the game and watched on Jacket Nation Sports. Our following has been really, really good. So we're very grateful for that. And it was a big crowd. You know, one of the things that I talked about this weekend with some people is that, you know, if there's a lot of changes with the conference, but one of the things is just the atmospheres people are going to notice are going to be quite a bit different. Every game is going to have big crowds, and that's a lot of fun. Makes it pretty exciting. I talked to our kids about that. That's it's a lot of fun to play in front of whatever 5,000 there was at Young Stadium on Friday.
What was different this time to Joplin compared to some of the other trips was your football team got off to a good start on Friday night and led the game 14-0 by halftime.
Yeah, usually we're down 21, right, Kevin? Seems to have been a norm down there. Got off to a good start. We didn't capitalize on every single opportunity. And then, of course, in the second half, kudos to Joplin. They got momentum. They seized momentum and took advantage of it. Thought they did a great job of adjusting. Their coaching staff did, and we fell short. But be valuable learning for us as coaches and players as we move forward. Certainly, this is an excuse, but it's real. Our depth roared its head just a little bit as potentially we ran out of gas a little bit late, and so that's something that I think we will continue to improve. As weather changes and guys get in better game shape, I think that will continue to grow as well. And then, of course, we've got to learn how to finish as a football team, and our kids are really close. We're really close to that. And then another key thing too, Kevin, is we can't have 180 yards in penalties. That's almost as difficult to overcome as the -5 the week before. And so those are a couple of things that we did a much better job in the turnover differential, but certainly in the realm of penalties, we've got some work to do.
How much work was invested last week leading up to Joplin in ball security and trying to prevent those turnovers?
Well, we invest in that every week. Certainly that continued and will continue. We also spend a lot of time on creating turnovers, teaching our kids how to strip appropriately, punch the ball out, how to recover a fumble, scoop and score, tip drills in the back half. So there's a lot of work done not only with ball security, but also in creating turnovers, which we've got to also do a little bit better job of. We were even this week, which is great, but we've got to create more turnovers, and certainly we'll continue to strive forward on that.
You talked about finishing a game like that on the road at Joplin, and there were opportunities for you to maintain possession of the football there in the fourth quarter, which would have finished out the game in your favor.
Without question, and as I mentioned, kind of segueing into this, penalties were to our detriment a little bit on that. Certainly, in the last possession, when we were set to go for it on fourth down, I have no doubt we would have gotten that first down. We got a penalty, and then we're in a spot where we have to punt there, and so that's just something that we really got to focus on, the fine details of why the penalties are happening, and improve.
First quarter, you drive 62 yards in 7 plays, a little over 4 minutes. Beckett York with a 1-yard touchdown run. Then Jax Glendenning gets loose for a 10-yard touchdown run to put you up 14-0. Had pretty good field position to start both those drives with.
We did. I thought defensively, Kevin, we played really well. Second half, they adjusted and attacked and something we were giving them, and we readjusted. And I thought, with the exception of maybe the last drive, where I'm not sure that our gas tank had what it needed at that point, but I thought we played great defense. The first half was exceptionally well, and I thought we played great defense the week before. I mean, certainly the general fan will look at the 35 and say that guy's crazy, but we held a Webb City team to 152 yards rushing, and considering 5 turnovers in different realms, I thought defensively we played very well in really both games. So, that's something to build on. And then offensively, we haven't played bad either in both games. We rushed the football exceptionally well in the first game, having a ton of first downs and yards. Same thing in this game. It's really all about right now just putting it all together and not blowing our foot off with a shotgun. With turnovers and penalties and different things like that.
Final possession of the ball game after Joplin scores to take the lead. Under a minute to go, under 45 seconds actually, and you get the ball with a long way to go. You need 6, and you almost got there. You had the ball throwing it into the end zone on the final play of the ball game. Kind of take us through that final possession, the hitch and pitch, and things that worked there.
Well, first of all, as most teams would do, we got kind of a prevent look. To our favor, we possessed 3 timeouts. Possessing the 3 timeouts allowed us to run the football in that situation, and so we get in a prevent defense. We're gonna have success running the football. So we were able to get some chunk plays on the ground with our timeouts, and then the execution of the hitch and pitch was excellent. Beckett with a really nice throw, and then catch and pitch, and Abe Allen did a great job getting a good gain on that. And then I thought the last play, Beckett threw a nice ball, gave us an opportunity on that corner fade, and that's all you can ask. And I think that just amplifies the fact that our kids are just playing their guts out for Lebanon and battling all the way to the end, because it very easily they could have shut it down, and they didn't do that. And that bodes well for the future.
Brody Shoemaker, the intended target on that final pass, he skied for that ball in the corner of the end zone. If that ball is a little bit more in the field of play, maybe he catches it and maybe he draws a penalty.
Very easily could have. It could have drew a penalty anyway, based on the penalty that he had, pass interference earlier in the game. If you look at the contact, similar, we certainly could have gotten a penalty there to begin with, but just is what it is, It just is what it is. It didn't fall our way, and I thought our kids gave themselves an opportunity to be successful there, and that, again, is something we can build on.
You contained the Joplin running game for the most part. Their passing game kind of found some traction there in the fourth quarter, especially with Rose and his good array of receivers. So that's difficult to cover those guys in space, isn't it?
Very talented at the receiver position, in particular number 2. I thought we did a really good job. I thought Avery Starnes did a tremendous job of executing our game plan. Our focus coming into the game was to put Avery on him in order to get his hands on and be physical and disrupt the route timing. I thought that was spot on. I think that he executed that well, and we wanted to put Jax in a position on the opposite side of that, and I thought that was executed well. And certainly there in the second half, one, they hit an opening that we gave them, and honestly, we kind of anticipated maybe they would attack that sooner than they did. But once they did address it, which would have been that first drive in the second half, then we counterpunched at that point. And of course, when we counterpunched to that, then we gave them something else, and they had some success. But ultimately, one of the things different from the first half to the second also is just the simple fact that, rushing the passer over 4 quarters is tough, and the pressure was not quite the same, and that wasn't because our kids weren't trying. I thought Nick Allen and Mason Hendricks, in particular, had just phenomenal games getting after the passer. We got a lot of good traction with pressures from our inside linebackers, and I thought we got after him good. But certainly there in the fourth quarter, the gas tank was challenging, and that goes back to our depth. As a coaching staff, we've got to work really hard on continuing to develop guys where we can get different guys in potentially with more gas tank. But we got to get those guys in a spot where they're ready, because certainly if you got the veteran is more ready than the rested guy is, even though the veteran's tired, then we just got to stay with our guy, and that's kind of the case right now. And so we're continuing to work hard at practice to get some other guys ready to go.
Did you win the pregame coin toss and take the football?
We did not. We have deferred. Defer is my choice, unless there is a circumstance with wind or something that would change that. So no, we've lost both weeks on the coin toss, and our opponents deferred both. So that's why we've had the ball to start both games.
You mentioned Abe Allen injured there late in the fourth quarter on that final drive, and he is out for this week against Neosho.
Yes, he is. He is probably going to be out for 4 weeks. He did have a hamstring injury. It isn't a tear, which is a positive, but definitely he's going to have to take some time getting that thing right. Obviously at this point right now, all of our goals are in place. We still are 2 weeks away from the Eastern Division component of the COC, and then, of course, district plays down the road. So it only makes sense for us to get Abe Allen in a spot where he is completely healthy, and so that's what's happening right now with him.
You're going to insert Braden LaMontagne as the starter at slot back in his place, and he's gotten some reps there, and looks like he's kind of getting his way now in his return to football.
Yeah, he really has. I think he's played well. He's played quite a bit of slot this year. We really tried to rotate the 3 of those guys because all 3 of them are contributing defensively right now. And so he will do a tremendous job there. He's very athletic. He gives us a little bit more length in the passing game than some of our other running backs. And so that's a positive. And he's a physical kid. So, and he's playing really good in the secondary right now. I think he's played well back there in both games.
Another big night for Jax Glendenning. We expect that each and every Friday night, and he produced once again at Joplin, didn't he?
Without question. And we every week I think we could just check that by it could be like one of your sponsors in the corner of the TV. Jax dominated. Could be like the business. He's a freak. He's got as much heart and guts as any player I've ever coached. He just brings it. He's like Rocky Balboa, in the Rocky movies, just going to keep swinging and punching, and really proud of him. And obviously with a lot of new starters on the offensive side of the football, he's with a primary veteran skill guy. And so everything's funneling through him right now. And so his attention that he's getting is heavy, but yet he's still producing And so super proud of him. And obviously as an offense, we're working really hard to expand, to take some of the pressure off that. But it is what it is. And Jax is the kind of guy that can handle that load.
Chart the progress of Beckett York in his second start at quarterback for you.
Well, number one, I'm just super proud of the kid. A lot of pressure to have to step in and be the quarterback in our program right now with a lot of expectations. And I think his attitude, his charisma, his moxie has been tremendous from the start. And I just been so impressed with him, and he gets better every single day, and he will. And he's a puppy. And I don't say that to be offensive to him. It's just the way it is. He's young, and the maturity physically is still developing. I mean, what he is like right now, and then what he'll be like as next year as a junior physically, because he works really hard in the weight room. It'll be night and day different. And then, of course, his senior year, right? So Beckett is doing a great job, and he's getting better every single day. And obviously, his future is extremely bright.
How much has your bank paid you? We've paid our Kasasa account holders more than $7 million since 2017. Open an account in minutes to get in on the earnings today. You shouldn't have to give up the hometown bank experience to enjoy modern convenience. Just check our Google reviews about our in-person, online, and mobile banking experiences. Open an account in minutes today.
A 2-0 Neosho team comes to town this Friday night, so they're off to a good start. Talk about some of the challenges they're going to present to you.
Well, they've been very impressive. And obviously, they have had their struggles over the last few years. And I think really the struggles that they have had have stemmed on their defense, where they had given up quite a few points. They have fixed that. They are playing really solid defense right now. In particular, their front, number 75 is as dominant a defensive lineman as I've seen in a few years. 6'2", 315 pounds, and can move. Impressive. And so we're certainly going to have to get hats on that guy because he is creating havoc and turnovers. And they got a host of others in there, too, that are doing a great job. I've been impressed with their linebacker core. And then I think their back half has always been solid, very athletic. And so defensively, they are much improved than they were a year ago. Offensively, they're really about the same because they scored points since their head coach took over as he was the offensive coordinator at Joplin before. They've scored points from the start. So that's really nothing new for Neosho, and they're doing a great job. It all centers around their quarterback. The Spiva kid does a tremendous job, not only managing their RPO package, where their run game and then the quick passing game marry really well, but also his legs running the football, and then his vertical passing game is extremely good. And so very, very impressed with what they're doing offensively. And when we did advanced work on Neosho from the previous years, we knew they were going to be good on offense, and so that's not a surprise.
What's been the vibe and the attitude within the locker room since you came back to work on Monday?
Good attitude. I think our guys are in a spot where they know where they're at, and they know what we need to do. Clearly, we're disappointed. I mean, that's just human nature. I mean, we haven't started 0-2 since 2005, I think, or something like that. Not many times, anyway. And so there's a certain level of frustration, but what we're trying to do is channel that the right way into us getting better, and also take advantage of the fact that this is something we can really grow from. And I talked to our team as a coaching staff and players the whole time about, look, this really isn't about the win-loss column right now. It's more about us really improving as an organization in every single way. And it's something that's going to be a major benefit to us long term. And long term, I'm hoping certainly this year, right? So certainly that's our objective. And if you look at years in past, certainly it's arguable that we didn't play any team as good as the last two we played until maybe district finals, quarterfinals, maybe one other conference opponent that could match up to that in a given year, but arguably 7 to 8, and maybe some years 9 games where we didn't play one team. No offense to those teams from the past, but just the facts. Not one team maybe as good as what we've faced so far in this year. And we've hung. I mean, we haven't just been embarrassed. Obviously, we're not playing good enough football right now to win, and that's on me as the head football coach. And so we're going to continue to hammer away to get everything right. And I think that the growth is positive. And I know it's hard, and I know how fans are, right? All you got to do is watch the professional teams to know how the fans are. But truthfully, no offense to your viewership, I don't care what fans think. I am all about and dialed into what I know we need to do to get better and developing our kids and being transformational for our kids and then just us traveling this journey. And I believe with all I have, we're going to get this thing right when it matters the most.
How did things evolve on Monday night in the sub-varsity games against Joplin?
Yeah, I thought both those two teams took steps in the right direction. Obviously, the first week we lost both games and kind of like our varsity maybe didn't play quite as well as what we had wanted to. This time, our freshmen went down to Joplin and they were dominant. They're a very athletic group. They were undefeated last year in 8th grade, and they put some things together and won the ball game 48-7 on the road at Joplin. So really proud of that group. And then we also, our JV lost 29-28. They had a heartbreaker like the varsity, but took some major steps in the right direction. Scoring points and moving the football very well. I thought we played solid defensively in the first half. The second half, we maybe had some more issues, but definitely some growth there. I'm really proud of that group. And that's mostly comprised of our sophomores. JV's hard, Kevin. We've talked about this a lot of years. They don't get the attention or the reps because their job is to prepare the varsity. And so, they play on a Monday night without a lot of preparation, and our kids go out there and just spill their guts and improve. And that's what it's all about. Who cares, really, what the scoreboard says in a JV game? What matters to me is when I assess film, do I see player at this position growing and getting better and playing hard? And our kids are doing that. We saw visible improvement from our kids on Monday night in the JV game.
You get another home game this Friday with a Neosho, 7 o'clock on Jacket Nation, and going to honor a former Yellowjacket from years gone by. That's Junior Smith, who will be in the limelight on Friday night.
Absolutely. Excited to honor Junior. Junior was nominated by our Veterans Committee. I don't know that we have a Veterans Committee in our Hall of Fame committee, but I take all advice from veterans. It's one of those things, Larry Winfrey does a great job with our stats, historical stats in the program. And of course, you are the ultimate historian. So I got to lean on folks like that to help me with some of the folks that have played in years past. And what people might not know is that, Junior number 1 is our all-time leader in single season touchdown receptions with 14. And is 4th all-time in single season reception yards with 780. And he helped guide our 1964 team to the Skyline Conference Championship and some successful teams there in the early 60s. So we're super pumped to honor a guy that is way deserving to be in our Hall of Fame. And there's a lot more in the future, guys like him that we're going to get recognized. But I'm excited for him to have his night. He deserves it.
Well, we're in Jason Starnes' location here at Buzzcuts, and youth football is getting ready to start. And he passed along this morning that the number of participants for this fall is going to be in the neighborhood of 280.
Yeah, tremendous numbers. And certainly that's an area that we're trying to grow, Kevin, program-wise. And so healthy youth numbers is a great sign of things heading in the right direction. Jason does a tremendous job of running our youth program. Not an easy gig. And I am the tip of the spear, so things fall on my desk last. Jason, he's the feet on the ground and works really hard and keeps things flowing and running. And ultimately what it's all about is our kids having fun and loving football. That's really number one. I want them to love Lebanon, wear that Lebanon jersey with pride, and love playing football, and want to, when the season ends, say, man, I wish football wasn't over. And Jason is doing a great job of leading that, and we're excited about the future of our program.
Coach, we'll see you Friday night. Look forward to the Neosho game.
Thank you, Kevin.
That'll do it for Jacket Talk Overtime on LEB TV, brought to you by Ginger's Wellness, by Mercy, also by Mid-Missouri Bank, and by Jacket Nation. We'll get things underway at around 6:45 on Friday night on Jacket Nation. And again, the community tailgate at Garner & Smith Insurance across from Lebanon High School starting at 5 o'clock this Friday. Join us again next week for another edition of Jacket Talk Overtime here on LEB TV. And he will run out of the pistol, take the snap, and lob one on the side, and it's intercepted for a pick six by Cannon Roar.
Takes the handoff, looking for Roar deep, and it is caught by this in the end zone.
Alex, it's always hot weather in August, but high school football season is here, and the Lebanon Yellowjackets now in the Central Ozark Conference.
Say goodbye to some key seniors, so next man up mentality as always for Will Christian and the Yellowjackets. Should be interesting to see how they fill those voids on both the offensive and defensive side of football.